simple message is an economic one, that we can save huge amounts of money from currently wasted use of resources, inefficient use of energy, over supply of energy to deliver the actual service. Because what we always have to remember, I think, I'll introduce Amory Lovins shortly, probably the leading world expert in this whole area, but the simple message is that people, they want warm homes, they want to be able to move and travel, they don't want energy per se, but they want those services delivered. And energy efficiency at its core is delivering those services at the absolute greatest efficiency. We calculate that in meeting our plan, our vision of a 20% improvement in energy efficiency, we can save the people of this country, the businesses of this country, over 1.6 billion euros by implementing the 90 measures, the 90 actions that are set out here. That's 1.6 billion euros we can spend in our education system, in our health system, in our transport system, delivering other services by just being efficient in our provision of energy services. And that's why this is centre stage now and is central government plans, government thinking. It's a central component of the whole smart economy, because that is the ultimate smart measure to deliver the services you need with least waste. The areas of savings are significant in business, some 380 million. In our homes, that 1.6 billion is made up of the fact that we think we can save some 680 million in the housing sector alone. And in transport, save over £500 million. And this is in a world where we know in this next 10-year period, we're facing into a world where oil will not be as freely and readily available, where we can expect a peak and a continuing then contraction in the availability of the light sweet crude oils that have powered our economy to date. This is not a time to be wasteful for energy. This is a time to be efficient. This is the background policy objectives behind this plan. I won't go into the 90 kind of detailed actions that we are setting out because it's not complete. Our estimates show that we can get most of the way there, but we're going to need to go further. So we're going to take further measures as we learn, as we pick up from experience. But just some of the ones I wanted to highlight. First, I suppose, to recognise the industrial sector. If you look at where the figures where we can make the reductions, the industrial sector offers the greatest potential. We're already working on that. Sustainable Energy Ireland have worked with the large industry energy users. I think since that's set up and been working, it's already saved some 55 million euros from the budgets of the companies that have been involved. We're putting particular attention in the industrial sector to the connection we see between the development of new information technologies and actually energy efficiency. We're fortunate in our department in that we combine those two roles. We see increasing opportunities for this economy, which has a large amount of expertise in the ICT and in the ICT services area, to really push efficiencies in that, to use cloud computing and other technological developments as a way to get huge efficiencies. The laptops, the standard laptops we have now, before we let somebody like Amory Lovins loose on it, is some 5 times more efficient if you take out the hard disk, take out the other unnecessary devices that you can now use but you can get access to services via cloud computing centre. We're looking to be leaders in that space, to be leaders, and we've already set financial tax measures to encourage hyper-efficient data centres, which actually mean that the overall network that runs those ICT technologies can use a minimum amount of energy. We have companies in this country which are world leaders in the development of new laser technology, which will allow colour-coded laser systems that will allow the internet work on a fraction of what the energy is currently using. We have in our city here world-leading research on terms of the next phase of computing, which is estimated to be 1,000 times more efficient than currently. That's the sort of expansion, that's the sort of game-changing, disruptive technologies that are available to us, particularly in the ICT sector, where we want to concentrate our energy efficiency measures in the industrial area. In our homes, we are already working with our Warmer Home Scheme, targeting people on lower incomes to retrofit their homes. Our Home Energy Savings Scheme, which is giving people the option to get an assessment of the performance of their house, get advice as to how you improve it, grants to actually pay for those improvements, and an assessment afterwards, a before and after measure, so you know you have a measure, you have a status to the good work that's been done. There's been a huge public response to that. It's only 2 months old, And we've had tens of thousands of people contacting Sustainable Energy Ireland. Work is starting, work has been completed, and that is a huge step in the right direction. I'm announcing here today that we want to go further. We want to go into the rented sector and look at companies that are in receipt, or any individuals, landlords in receipt of rent allowance, and say that we are insisting now that if you are in receipt of such allowances, you will upgrade your buildings to make them warmer and cleaner and happier homes for those who are in receipt of the rent allowance, who are using those properties, using the same infrastructure we have in terms of building energy ratings, in the grants that we have available, in the knowledge that the return on the investment for any landlord is better than any other investment you could make by retrofitting such insulation to the homes. We are now insisting that those landlords, if they are in receipt of rental allowances, will have that work done and will actually create a better, warmer home for people in rented property. In government, we are determined to lead by example. We're not committing to the 20% target as set out in the European Union or within our national plan, but to go further, to a 1/3 improvement in energy efficiency, particularly in our public buildings. There's some 1,000 buildings in the state ownership of over 1,000 square metres in size. We want to set up a model, particularly looking at the use of energy service companies. We think we can get a payback, we can get better use of the state resources, we can make huge savings, and once they're made, they're there forever and a day afterwards. So in the government, particularly through the use of those energy service company models, we're looking to show a lead. In our utilities, in our energy supply companies, we're going to place on them by the end of this year an obligation that they have to actually lead in terms of, on their customers' behalf, provide energy saving measures and start measuring their success by how they reduce energy supply for the customers rather than just how much they actually sell. And it's every business's interest to work together on this agenda, because this is the way forward. This is the centre now of energy policy concentration. In the last year and a half, I've very much concentrated on the whole new clean production sources. But ultimately, the first test is, do you use the energy well, wisely? Is there no waste? Minimising that is our first priority, and this action plan sets out that this area is our priority. It's actually using it wisely and well, and cutting back on waste is the centre, as I said, of the smart economy. We're very fortunate here this morning that we have Amory Lovins joining us. If for anyone who's involved in the energy, or anyone with passing interest in the whole area of energy policy, doesn't need to be introduced. He is the world-leading expert in this area, has been a visionary and has set out in a series of books ideas and concepts that are now becoming mainstream, but he was considering 10, 20 and 30 years ago. Some of the sentences I was just looking at in preparing for this morning, just look at some of the lines that he's used in those sort of times. The simple message I take, that I think what you said once, is that we can plan an economy that is thriving and verdant and secure for all and forever. And that's a vision I think we can join. And in this country we can actually set as our goal. We have everything in our grasp to be 100% carbon neutral in our energy production, to be a leading energy efficient user of energy. Why not follow that as a model? I salute Amory as someone who's in energy, has really led the world in the thinking and in the real change that is starting to happen. And I very much appreciate you coming here to help launch our efficiency action.